So you downloaded Snap and you've logged in, you've made your MyTopia Dynavox account. Probably online, you did the free trial, or you just bit the bullet and have bought the membership for $50. So here is the default page. To edit, you're going to want to go to the top right hand corner and press this little gear, and then scroll up, go to page set, grid size. So this is the biggest grid size possible. If your child can select, or in the future will be able to select a button this small, then definitely stick with it. Go with the biggest one possible. For this example, I'm going to pull up let me see which one it is. Here is a 7x9. I feel like this is just a little bit more reasonable. The buttons are still kind of rectangular, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. So let's say you've chosen this. So you've chosen the 7x9. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pick a few words to start, depending on kind of where your child is at in language development. So what I would do is I would come over here to this right-hand sort of toolbar. So this, if you press this arrow at the bottom, it'll tell you what these buttons do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the square, the marquee select. I'm going to select all of the buttons. I'm going to come down here, make sure that none of the other ones down there are visible. And I'm just going to hide them. So now I've got no buttons visible. And then by pressing that multi-select button again on the right, now none of them are selected. So what I'll do now is, in order to select more than one, you're going to want to press that multi-select button in the right. And then you're probably going to want to start with things with a few words, including like, want, not, what are the other ones? And more. There we go. And maybe go. So let's say, and then you press that little I again, and now they're visible. So you'll notice the other ones are simply kind of faded right now. When you leave edit mode, now that's all you see. So just for ease of learning a new word, it can be helpful to have them kind of spaced out. So I might just hide like for now, just so it's a little bit easier. So like want more, you could say not more, not want as in don't want, not go as in stay here, or there's a lot of different things you can say. Not more, meaning kind of all done. So you can say a lot just from these 4 words. So if I go back to edit mode, I'm going to want to hide a few more things. So this is just for starting, especially for kids who don't know a lot of words yet. So I'm just going to hide, I'm really going to hide this entire toolbar over there. I'm going to make sure that there's nothing else visible. And I'm going to take this time to go to page set, style, background. I like a black background. Totally your choice. And I like when the grid margin factor is a little bit wider. This just helps me kind of visually demarcate things, and I think it's useful. So let's say, so now this is what your board looks like. I'm not sure. Okay. So this is what your board looks like, and your child is going to
want more.
Learn how to use these buttons, and you are going to actually just right off the bat, I like to hide this share button. I believe I do that by hitting this edit here at the top. Right now, I don't think that it's necessary to have the share or the speak button, because it will automatically say the words. If your child gets to a point where they're like want to say a full sentence, and so they want to craft the sentence and then speak it, and that's totally fine, and they can do that later. But just for now, for ease, this is like kind of an easy way to do it. So now you can clear, you can delete, you could take off delete too. You could do a lot of different things with that. I like to just leave the message bar up. You don't have to, but I think you might as well. And then for me, I think that this more symbol is not really the typical symbol that kids may use at school. So if they do use it at school, then they've probably used these hands version. So I think it can be helpful to change that. If they have not used it at school, then the other one makes more sense because this is a sign. So if your child doesn't know sign language, then that's just random. And then I like to, by pressing this button, it's gonna select all the buttons, and I like to go to text. I like to pick, I guess I'll go to page set. I like to pick, what I feel is the best font, which, you pick what you want, maybe Arial Hebrew, and then maybe I'll do bold. I don't think that's the clearest thing, so I like to do a little bit bigger of a text. Depending on how good your child's vision is, you can kind of adjust accordingly. I don't like that font now that I'm looking at it. So, whatever. Pick a font that you like and stick with it. I don't know why it's not changing. Why isn't it changing? It's glitching right now. I'm not really sure why it's not doing that. Anyway, so then you're just going to want to model. That's sort of the step one, jump in, depending on where your child's at, sort of in terms of how well they can control tech and whatnot. You could start with one button. You could start with, 10. So you just kind of meet your child where they're at. Less is more. If they're very proficient in these words, then by all means, add more words and start modeling as much as possible without expectation. So don't expect your child to copy you. Don't ask them to copy you. Just as you say things or be like, hey, it looks like you
want more
food or whatever. Just model, and make sure it's available all the time. And that is basic. And then as they learn, let's say your child learns these 4 words, then maybe you'll add like and let me come over here and select multi-select and what, and maybe like let's see, play is also a good one. Is play available here? No, it would be in the more actions, but eventually you can add that in. These words are just kind of like maybe stop, even though they could say not go, but stop is also useful. Come here, like these are all things that would be pretty useful. So then you could, and the great thing about this is as long as you're clearing, it will conjugate.
Want more.
You don't need to model every word that you say, just the main ones. So if you didn't want to model I want more, you could model I want more in a sentence, or just want, or just more. Totally your choice. Just model. Really can't stress that enough. Without expectation, and then just slowly keep adding in more and more buttons. If you feel like your child really has a grasp of that, then you can start to add in some of these, like all word lists, for example, which is going to have some of the more categorical stuff. You, again, can hide all of these and then just kind of reveal one at a time. I like to color code them to make it a little bit easier, but that is totally your choice. And then, of course, adding the back button so that you can get back. You can't do that right now, but that is the gist of getting started with Snap Core. Trying to think if there are any other edit features. I guess changing the voice. You want the voice obviously to match your child. I would turn on data tracking. I'm not going to turn on right now, but that's what I would turn on so that you can see what words your child is saying and how much they're saying it and whatnot. Only on the device that your child uses, not on your editing device. And then you can say which symbol ones you want, which symbol set. They have a high contrast option that you can find if you let's see, you can do the sign language symbols, the high contrast right here. So you download it and then you can add it to your installed symbols. You can also do the safe search. And let's see what else.